Saw some people outside already, some fans out there. Where'd you come in from?
Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, what'd you do down there?
We just went and talked about the new song a little bit and kind of hung out. I tell you, y'all got more road construction going on.
It's true. I mean, a lot of these people, how many went through construction on the way over here? Just about almost a majority of the crowd already.
My bus driver had a meltdown almost, and he doesn't do that. Like he's straight with the Lord now. He's OG. He's old gangster from New Orleans, and I think he about reverted to his old ways.
Wait, you have a former gangster of New Orleans as a bus driver?
He's awesome.
And he found the Lord.
Yeah, he's been shot 3 times. This dude's awesome.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a gangster. I gotta have a gangster bus driver, right?
Have you ever been shot?
No.
Stabbed? Stabbed?
Yeah. Bottles count, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bar fights? Bottles?
Yeah. I had a dude stab me in the back. You know, like beer bottles get cut in half. This one didn't. It was just like the tip at the end of it. So it was like the bottle end, and he
That can pierce you.
Yeah, it sucked.
Did the fight end? Was the fight over with pretty much at that point?
Yeah, and then all my buddies made fun of me because I was like, "That dude stabbed me." I'm like, nah. I don't know if that's quite a stab. I'm wounded.
All right. Has something to do. Yeah, so there you go. That was in reference to Bottoms Up, his #1 song. You've had a couple actually 3 number ones, right?
Yes.
Bottoms Up, Country Must Be Countrywide, and You Don't Know Her?
Yes, sir.
3 #1 hits. Now, you've written some songs for, Dirt Road Anthem, of course, with Colt Ford, and then My Kind of Party, which is a solo write.
I was 17 when I started that one.
Really?
I don't know how I knew about some of that stuff.
Oh.
Saw it on MTV.
So it's like when you think about, so did it become you started writing it at 17. When did it become a mature song for somebody to pick up? When was it recorded?
I put it on a record of mine called A Modern Day Prodigal Son, which I put out when I was 19. And a lot of stuff. There was actually another song called The Best of Me that he cut. It was like a bonus track for iTunes release for the record before the one Dirt Road Anthem and My Kind of Party were on. So it's that record's probably still one of my favorites.
So really, at a very young age, you were starting to make some money, a living as an artist, as a writer, right?
Yeah, I was trying.
Okay.
Y'all there for a little while. We took our separate vehicles, and then we graduated to a Ford Excursion, and we had 9 people in it.
Yeah.
And I was in the very back hatch on 2 folded up futon mattresses, and I'd drink Jaeger and smoke cigarettes all the way. Then we get to the venue, and my grand entrance was PJ would get out. He always drove us. That's my big security guy.
Yeah.
He always drove us. He'd get out and he'd walk to the back and he'd open the back hatch and I'd pour out of there. Walk in the bar. It was awesome.
Wow. At a very young age. And back when you were 19, a real serious car accident kind of changed your life a little bit?
For sure.
What happened there?
I was one of them kids that thought, it could never happen to me. I'm good. I'm bulletproof. And it happened to me. I got spun upside down. I flipped about 5 times and came out, got ejected, hit my head. It was a doozy.
Yeah, and then somewhere right around there was you were able to transfer that into writing more, and you kind of equate that to a little bit of your success.
Definitely, it was kind of one of those just paths. The road split, and I felt like going the music route was the right one. I wasn't going to cut it as a counselor or a therapist.
Okay.
I don't think. Yeah, man, thank God it didn't work. I would have been responsible for more divorce than Facebook.
Right. Are you on Facebook, by the way? Oh, you have a fan page, right?
Yeah, we got the business page, but personally, I'm scared to death of that stuff.
Why? What scares you the most about it?
Them people crazy.
Them people crazy.
Yeah, well, I was watching this show Catfish the other day. Y'all seen that?
Right.
If that could happen, just talking back and forth what could happen?
Right.
With an out of control fan. Check. check this out.
Okay.
So this woman had been writing me letters for a while, and she'd like leave them with somebody at the show to get them to me, and they were pages long, and like it was talking about she believed that God had led her to me, and we were supposed to be together, and this, that, and the other.
And by the way, this is common occurrence to artists that really start making it and that are out, they're famous, they're seen everywhere. You get this. This is a common occurrence, but this one is different.
Yeah, this one, we were up in the Northeast, and every time we were up there, around in the Northeast, like I'd end up with a letter. And then finally one night we played, it was Atlantic City, and we played it, we got done, and this woman and her son and her husband were outside, and her son was like 40. And I'm not saying anything wrong. Like, my little brother's on a cougar hunt. Like, he's all about it. Me, on the other hand, my fiance came back, and she broke my age requirement. She was a little old, but I loved her. But no, so anyway, so this woman, they're standing out in the freezing cold, and they hadn't asked to talk to me or anything. They just kept walking around the bus. It was real odd. So then somebody went out and talked to him, and this woman explained how, you know, she had written me before and just wanted to meet me and know if what she felt was for real. Now, y'all, this woman was in her mid to upper 60s, but not like well kept. Mid 60s.
I rode hard.
Yeah, rode hard, put up, soaked sweat. Just. And she left me a note that night, and that was the note she left that night was that she let it all out. She told me exactly what she wanted to do, and man.
Oh wait, in detail.
Oh God.
I mean, she was that vocal in detail.
Yeah, just
a
like
lot of
about
physical?
Yeah, just wanting to be physical, kind of, pretty much.
In detail.
Yeah.
You fill in the blank.
Yeah.
We have some minors here in the room.
So the best, do we?
Yeah, we do actually. We have a college student who's missing a pop quiz at University of Tampa here. A couple high school students here. And where? And you? And you're missing school because of him? Oh, it's a fair day.
I thought she said it's a dare day.
No,
like somebody dared me.
I know. Listen, I know you're from Georgia, but do you have like fair days in Georgia where the opening day of the fair, the school lets out that day?
No, we got snow days. If it like snows an inch,
yeah,
we're done.
We do. Yeah. Well, we have fair days here and Strawberry Festival days here. So, anyway, but anyway,
let kids out of school.
Yeah, I'm serious. I don't get it myself. Twice a year they do it.
Man, do you know what we'd have done with a day off for a fair for school? See, we had to get creative, and we'd all skip, just, you know, certain
That was
days.
part of the fun of not going to school, being creative on how to skip. Yeah.
At that point, like our small town was like me and two friends and a stop sign. So like, we sneak out and go to Subway, and every time, it was crazy. Like all my friends would come back, like, man, I just got rode up. How? In Subway. It was the only place to go. You go to Subway, teachers are there. They're skipping school too. Like, you're not gonna get caught.
Well, welcome anyway, Brantley. So what's happening after this? Like, after here, you're probably moving on. You're doing a little radio tour. You're going around the state of Florida on the bus.
We are. This single we just released, "One Hell of an Amen," is a song unlike anything I've released yet, in that it's something that hits me in the chest hard. It's about two guys that drastically changed my life and did a lot to me. The first verse, a brother of mine from home, a best friend of mine, did 4 tours in Iraq and was always telling me about his best friend over there. The guy's name was Jonathan Lutens. And they, you know, Josh had shared stories with me when he'd been back before. And the last time he came back, he had a little bit of trouble, you know, kind of adjusting to back home.
Getting back in civilian life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tough.
And one of the things that led to that was he watched an IED hit John's Humvee in front of him, and they were like messing around with each other from Humvee to Humvee when it happened. And it shook him up. That along with some other stuff, but especially this one stuck with me. I actually got to meet John's sister down the road when she found out that I'd written a song about him. And, you know, it was one of those things that tied to the USO tour, you know, where I go over and I complain about but I say when people ask me what hate about my job. It's not really that I hate it, but it's, you spend a lot of time away from people you love and care about, and then you go over there and these people are still on 12-month tours. Like, I can't relate to that. Even I can't relate to that. And there's that, and then you go to, we did the Athens to Arlington ride, and I know a lot of people say they support the military and they actively support the military, and I did too. But that took it up a notch. When you walk around thousands and thousands and thousands of stones with people's names on them, then you realize that they're buried more than one deep.
Yeah.
In those graves.
It's so true. I mean, we have that experience here. If anybody's ever been to Bushnell National Cemetery, Veronica and I went. I do the morning show with Veronica. She's out of town right now, but for Memorial Day, we do a motorcycle ride. As you do a ride too, and I ride as well. And we went up to Bushnell, and we do our soldier salute each weekday morning at 6:55. And by the way, if anybody has a soldier they want to recognize, see me, because I'll record you after Brantley has to hit the road. But when I said, Veronica, the story's not here doing the ceremony, with everybody speaking and whatever. I said, it's right over there behind the stones. That's where it gets really surreal. And she goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm going to walk up to that couple and interview them. With a microphone, you're going to interrupt them? I'm like, yeah. And I asked them if they would talk to us, and they said, absolutely. I said, tell me about your son. Where's your son right now? And they go, right there. It's like, wow. That really gets you, and that's what you experienced, right?
Definitely. Yeah, we there was a girl there from Folds Honor that we gave a scholarship to. Every stop we made, somebody, a family of a vet injured or passed away, got a scholarship, and this girl's father passed away. I was actually in a training exercise, but he was a pilot, and she was there talking. Her mother spoke, and that was, you're standing, and he's buried out in the middle of one of the big areas where you can just see stones for miles.
And they're all the same,
yeah,
same size, same color, just the writing's different.
And it really, really, it spoke to me, like, showed me, really how small it really was.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that many people paid the ultimate sacrifice so we can do things that we love for a living. And you hear that all the time, and until you really see it and you put yourself there, like, you're wholeheartedly, it's hard to really see how important that is. And it just, extremely thankful and appreciative. And, when you hear the song, it's easy to think, it's a song about a soldier dying and somebody dying from cancer. But that wasn't hard to write. It's not about the fact that they died. It's about their strength. It's about their courage. The second verse is about a buddy of mine from back home. Corey was 4 years younger than me, and his older brother Kyle and I were best buds and played ball together. And Corey was that all-American small-town kid, man. The guy like you went to high school with. When you graduate, everybody starts going to his house and stuff. There's no drama. He just hung out with everybody. He was a cool dude. He just loved life. He got to feeling bad and had some tests run. When the doctor came in and gave Corey his diagnosis for leukemia, Corey looked right up at him and looked him in the eye and told him, all right, well, bring it on. Let's go to war. And so that line in the song is not, I can't take credit for that one. That's straight out of his mouth. And that was his battle slogan. And, like, around our small town, I remember hearing about it and being like, that's awesome. But, small towns, we have our dirt and our grapevine and our little cliques and the small talk. But it was crazy to see how when he went through that with the attitude that he did, how that whole community stood up as one and worked together towards a common goal to make things better. And they do a golf tournament every year for his scholarship foundation. And just Corey was such a good dude. And knowing what I knew about John through Josh, he was such a great dude. The way they lived is what was important, and they had a wonderful legacy. And I just think I didn't think it was right for it to stop where it did.
Right.
And I was blessed enough to be in a position to put their story on paper and put a melody to it and hand it to the country. And the reaction we've gotten back is, I think people deep down, if you hear a song that's remotely close, you want to identify with it. I think it's human nature. Like, you want to find something in a song that hits home for you, that you can relate to. And this song, obviously, we've all come in contact in some way, form, or fashion with a battle with cancer. Y'all know of a family or somebody that's related to or knows a soldier that's passed away. It's it's one of those things. But this song is not intended to bring back their memory and just remind you of the fact they passed away. It just reminds you about the good things, and that it's not goodbye. It's just goodbye for now. You know what I mean? We're going to see everybody, all them folks again. If they, you know, anytime you go out fighting for your life or fighting for your country, I think it's safe to say it's one hell of an amen.
There you go, Brantley Gilbert. Thank you so much for that story.
Yes, sir.
Whoever thought a man with such a hard exterior has this deep, prolific, creative thought, and it's just amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's a great story. And I want to go around the room here and have a few questions of Brantley Gilbert. And let's go with the college student first, I think.
Let's go for it.
And
Skip it.
what's your name?
Ashley.
Ashley, what's your question of Brantley?
Well, I went off of Instagram, so like we had like enter a question, so I'm just gonna ask the one I had on there.
Perfect.
I said, what's the most defining moment of your career, and if you have a favorite place to write?
You know what? Writing is kind of wherever it happens is awesome. Nowadays, you know, a while back, I had plenty of time to write. You know, I had a job and I'd come back, and now it's obviously we're a little bit more busy, and I have to make time to write when we're out on tour and things like that. So whenever a songwriting session breaks out, you know, we're all over it. My favorite place to write is probably up in the room I used to call the send-in that I had to retire when I got engaged. So it's now it's now just got a lame, like,
Why are you looking at me?
run of the mill. It's now just got a lame, like, run of the mill name. It's the man cave. Don't even feel right saying it. The send-in was legendary. I got home from a trip one time and there were 2 exercise poles up. And my buddies had put them up. I didn't know anything about it, so my mom shows up and she walks upstairs and I hear her coming, and we're looking at it and just checking the room out. All the walls are painted black. We got lights up, little strobe, and beat to the music. There's like subwoofers in the floor. My neighbors love it. I was the closest one. It's like 2 miles away, but they can hear it. So my mom comes up and she was like, Brantley. When she saw the pole, I was like, Mom, those are exercise poles. And she was like, oh, well, can I exercise? Hell no, you can't exercise. No. You never know what's on them poles.
Your mom's doing pole fitness. That's great. What's your name and question?
My name is Matt. When you get time, what do you do to relax to get some BG time?
Man, I get on a motorcycle. Usually, if it's, you know, I'm not a fair weather rider, so if I need to ride, I need to ride. And if it takes putting on a bunch of leather and my goggles and everything, I got these goofy goggles I use in the rain. Cause I don't know.
Is it the round airplane goggles? Yeah. Snoopy style. Yeah.
That's when the full face helmet comes out. 'Cause that can't be seen like that. But any of you that ride know that if you ride and it really starts raining and you got on a pair of sunglasses, you just might as well pull over under an overpass because you're going to wreck. There's 2 kind of people on a motorcycle, those that have been down and those that will go down. If you try to ride in the rain in Oakley's, you're going to be one of the ones that has been down.
All right, Brantley, another question. Your name and question.
My name's Rodney, and I was just wondering what made you want to start singing, being like an artist?
It was all for the ladies, man. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I started playing praise and worship music. So check this out. I was really, really young, and I got like a black and white Strat, right, Fender Strat, and I was if you know what I mean. Like in my mind, I could play 3 chords. You can't fuck with that. I was on fire. No, so I was kind of doing that and playing in bars at kind of the same time. I was rotating, and I remember the first time I got caught. I was supposed to be in Gatlinburg playing the Winter Blast 2000, or not 2000, it was 19 something. Yeah, I just turned 30. On my 30th birthday, like gray hair started growing out of everywhere. I swear to God.
I'm your inspiration, buddy, right here.
Dude, it blew my mind. Like I told my fiance, look at this on my beard. Out of nowhere. How does that happen? But anyway, sorry. So my parents, I decided it'd be a great idea to tell them I was in Gatlinburg and I was actually playing our small town bar, which, like I told you, there's 3 people in the stop sign. People knew I was there. So my mom and dad walked in. I got busted. It was bad. It was bad. But I remember, one thing I do remember about starting was a lot of my buddies that played guitar would learn everybody else's songs. And I was, for some reason, I think some of them were ahead of me and they were really good at playing other people's songs. And I was like, well, fine, man, y'all have that. I'm going to write my own. And I remember, like, I had one melody, like chord structure and a melody that I could, like, make that song about anybody if I wanted to. Because I knew it well enough I could change the words. I was a freestylist of sorts.
Yeah.
And there was a place for a name in the song. You just found out what her name was, what color her eyes were, and you can figure out the hair from 10 feet. You know what I mean? It was a winner.
All right.
Till they figured out that was the only one I knew.
Misty, question.
How do you manage being engaged and going on tours like that? Does she love it?
Well, you can start out with your first engagement.
Yeah. Damn! Woo!
How'd that work out?
Well,
that has kind of a play into it. You learn from that, and you figure that one out because you are in a tough business. The blessing becomes the curse, some ways or shape or form, right?
having 2 people in the same business that I think if you're still in the developmental phase of your career, it was hard. But she's wonderful. But she's not a bad person. Nobody cheated. Nobody did it was just one of those things that didn't work, and sometimes that happens. This time around, I've known Amber for 10 years. We didn't see each other for 5 or talk for 5 because we got to a point. Check this out. So I was living questionably, I guess. And then I ran with a pretty rough group of fellas, and she was not like that. She was in a youth group when I met her. I was actually doing some community service hours, and my cousin worked at a church and was working with a youth group, and she was helping with a youth group, and I met her back then. And she's a good girl. And, people will tell you anytime you go through something that the people who love you the most will stick right there with you, and I'll be honest with you, some of the people to this day that are nearest and dearest to my heart are people that said, you know what, dude, if that's what you're about right now, I can't be a part of it. And she was one of those. And, she knew me before any of this stuff, and it just, that helps a lot. And she doesn't take any of my crap, and that definitely helps a little bit. I'm not gonna lie, like fellas, there's some probably pretty tough fellas in the room, and y'all can't tell me this was the thing this week. She got on to me for pouting, which if you tell a man like me we're pouting, I'll flip my. I was pissed. It was like, and I love her to death. She's just little, and I'm just like walking around the room like trying to find something to divert my anger, and I was like, I'm gonna walk away for a minute. I need a minute. And I went up front, and she came to the front lounge of the bus, and she was like, are you still pouting?
That's the worst, right?
I was ready to tell my bus driver, I was like, dude, pull over. I'm going to beat up a random homeless person. Like, they deserve it for some reason, somehow. But no, she's really good about keeping me under control. Y'all ever had anybody tell you was pouting or whining about it? Just, yeah. No, it's like, no. Like, use a different word. You were complaining excessively.
Well, the different word I would call is time. Shut up and let it process.
Thank you.
Time, because you'll get over it in a matter of hours or the next morning.
I'm using that.
Yeah. All right. We have Dan with another question, and really one more question left after Dan. So who's it going to be? Dan?
Yeah, I was wondering. I heard your favorite gun's a pair of 1911 Kimbers. Do you shoot any other guns or have any other guns that you like?
Yeah, I do. I actually got into long range stuff. And right now we've built a 308, a 300. Both of those were on the Remington 700 action. And then right now we're working on a gun that's just like Chris Kyle's. It's a 338 Lapua, and it's just got some updates on it. And it's already one of my partners shot. We were just trying to break it in and see if it could hit it long range. And I think he hit it at around 1,300 yards. It's a good shooter. So we're kind of into that now. My hunting style changed. If it's inside 100 yards, I'll shoot with a bow. What's that now? Yeah, man. That's why I got those 2 pistols. Have y'all ever seen that movie, Training Day with Denzel Washington? And he's got 2 guns, and he's like clicking them together. The whole I saw that, and I was like, I gotta have those. We shot the bottoms up video, and I was like, so it broke my heart. The guy for the video was like, we can't have real guns on the set. I'm bringing my gun. I bought these for this video. So the next day I showed up, and I had a shoulder holster, and they were in there, and he was like, Brantley, I told you we can't use live guns on the set. I said, I played you one up. The gunsmith just left. I ain't got no firing pins in here. These ain't live no more, so I got to use them. Joke's on him.
All right. All right, Katie, final question.
I don't know if it's so much a question, it might lead into one maybe, but I really just wanted to say that I think it's really cool, more so now that you've sat here and talked. I've seen it even more, and we were talking about it earlier, that you don't put on airs for anybody. You're just as redneck now as you were before all this.
If not more after this. Huh?
Yeah. Then when all this started and everybody's pulling you in a million directions, and I can't imagine how hard that must be, but the fact that you stay where you're at is very admirable.
Well, thank
So I guess there's no question there. I just wanted to...
Was there a time that maybe a revelation, all of a sudden it's like, I'm just going to be as real as I possibly can. You try to be somebody you weren't?
Well, I've been blessed enough to have real people around me that have both feet in the ground with their roots tied to their shoestrings. Like,
People come out of the blue and want,
right.
You're somebody, they want something from you.
Yeah, I mean, that's with anybody that really makes it. But was there any level of humility that hit you that, like, I'm just going to be real and self-deprecating and as honest as I possibly can with myself?
I remember there was a point when I was worried to an extent that maybe some of the younger stuff coming out, it was going to be hard for me to, to keep up with the younger curve, and maybe like the idea of writing with younger writers and this kind of thing. And I was kind of suggested in the route of going with finding younger songs. You know what I mean? Like when it got to that point, and I pushed back. It was one of those things like, no, I write my songs. If I don't write it by myself, I co-write it. And I've just kind of stuck to that. And I think that's helped me a lot as far as sticking true and being true to myself, because when I write a song, I'm selfish about it. Like that part of you that wants to relate a song, I'm obsessed with having that in my life, definitely in the song. It's got to be about me, or, I think if you write a song the right way, you relive it every time you sing it. And the crappy part is I think I wrote a lot the right way, but it reminds me every song. I'm thinking, you don't know her like I do. I didn't have a dime to my name. I was broke. I drank it and peeled it away, and I'm losing somebody that meant the world to me. And all of my friends, the yes men, that when I did have bad people around me, said, dude, it ain't nothing, man. You got to shake that. There's women everywhere. You see them every weekend. You go on the road. And I fed into that for a minute. I mean, it's easy to. But at the end of the day, there's the fella upstairs never let me get really too far before he sent a lightning bolt at. And I think that's been important too. But I've had really, really good people around me that have kept me grounded. And I moved home. I did move to Nashville for a year. I was like, I'm going to dig into this job. I'm going to give it all I got, and I'm going to go overboard if that's what it takes. And I'm going to write every day. I'm going to go to the studio. And it was not the right move for me. I moved back home, and since then, writing's been 10 times better. And nothing against Nashville, the people in it. Just I'm a hometown guy. And those people and places were the things that I started writing about. Right. And they knew me. You know what I mean? It wasn't. Now, when I go to Walmart now, those people necessarily. So Walmart for us is like the upscale, like mall.
Yeah.
For y'all, right? And then Dollar General is like Walmart, right?
Yeah. So Nashville is, you got to go more of the show business and the facade, and so you need to get away from a lot of that and get grounded. Brantley, one hell of an amen, your latest single. We're going to listen to it and listen to the story. Thanks for sharing that story with us. Let's give it up to Brantley Gilbert for visiting us today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. Awesome.